Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Dinah Mohamed Zalman, and today my friend Jessica Jamain and I will be talking about this play called The 6 Words of Life Assignment. So without further ado, I'm going to start off with the summary. So in this play, there's 6 major characters, which are Zach, Adrian, Anthony, Brandon, Kathy, and also Patty. This play tells about an assigned project by their English teacher, Mr. Bob, where he asked them to produce these 6 words and write them on note cards describing their life or a situation that are significant to them. So they have to do this within the week. During the process of constructing those words, each of the students' lives were revealed. On the day of the project submission, the teacher collects all of their note cards and anonymously read them out loud, and they are supposed to guess whose cards belongs to whom. So all these stereotypes about their friend are thrown out of the window because no one got them right. So at the end, they realize that not every student are as what they seem to be. So now moving on to the theme of the play. So we discussed that there are 2 important themes in this play, which are man versus society and also man versus self. So for the first theme, man versus society, it shows that the students make judgment on each other based on their perception and also stereotypes. So for instance, Anthony is known as the class clown, right? And everyone immediately have this perspective on him that he is the happy-go-lucky kid that never ever felt sad or depressed about anything. But in reality, the character that he carries around to school is actually just a mask to cover all of his scars. And this happens to all the pupils in class. How the classmates, which is the society, view them as individuals. With this theme, it demonstrates the truth of how society deem individuals according to certain traits and finalize who they are without actually getting to know them. Next, the second theme, man versus self. This can also be seen in the play where this conflict develops from each of the students' inner struggles in discovering their true self. The obstacle they must overcome is to neglect how the society view them and decide who they really are and what they're facing by forming those 6 words that define them.
Next, let's have a look on the literal meaning of the play. In this case, we decided that our interpretation of literal would be the impression of each character towards each other. The characters in this play is reading or seeing everyone in their most basic sense, which is based on what they see on the outside. They assume that they've already known everyone and their own self well. For example, Zach is known as the leader of the students' council. So everyone assumed that he'd be writing something about leadership and everything associated with it. However, the table has turned once they really had their hand on the assignment. Those who complains about the assignment being a bit too elementary and having to spend 5 days for such easy tasks is a waste of time start to feel the real deal when conflict, drama, and self-discovery starts taking place in each of the characters' life as they search for their 6 words. When the day of the presentation finally came, a strong literal impression is again showed by each character as they started guessing which card belongs to whom, only to find out in the end that they got none right. For example, they mistaken Brendan's card, "I only want to be better," for Katie's, because based on their literal view of Katie's, she's all about good grades, since she is a straight A student. In fact, they got everyone's card wrong. They mistaken Katie's for Zach's, Adrian's card for Patty's, Anthony's for Adrian's, and Zach's for Brandon. Although they've discovered themselves, it doesn't change the fact that at that time they were still pretty oblivious of each other's true self. Mr. Bok's last word to them was, You all think you know each other so well, but there's so much more to each and every one of you than the rest of us think. Moving on, the play is trying to show us that there's more to a person's life than what is shown. The 6 Words of Life assignment. It's incredible how a short sentence can lead to big discoveries in a person's life. This play is not merely pointing out that we shouldn't be judging a book by its cover. In fact, we believe that there is a deeper meaning and message in which the writer is trying to convey through the 6 words. As simple as it sounds, 6 words is actually a reflection of the little and simple things in our life which we tend to overlook because we don't find it as important. These little things could be simple acts yourself, like making sure you have enough 8 hours sleep in a day. You'll never know the good impact or benefit from doing that unless you do it. Another example would be a simple act of asking your mom, dad, or anyone in the family how their day was, or exchanging simple, encouraging words toward each other first thing in the morning. In short, this play is trying to show how small things can be the start, cause, and discovery of a bigger change. Example from the play. Anthony was labeled as the class clown, and that he's always on the right side of the bed. However, he wasn't. When he first got the assignment, he was thinking of getting it done right away by turning in something that would suffice just enough for him to avoid bad grades. However, it was because of this simple assignment that got Anthony peeking into his wound from the past, only to learn that it was still pretty much bleeding up until this day. See, it took a simple assignment to start off the process of self-discovery among the students. Simple things aren't always that simple. There's more to it than just 6 words. We just have to look carefully.
Next is metaphor. So metaphor can be found in the play in page 20. So this is a scene where Zach's parents are quarreling to each other, and there's this line containing the metaphor is said by his mom, Ruth, and the line goes like this: I've done that for 15 years, and for 15 years I have fed, raised and nurtured that parasitic beast that you called our child. So you notice that she said parasitic beast. That is the metaphor in the play, parasitic beast. So as you know that parasite is something or someone who takes advantage of another person or another thing. And beast is known as something that is unpleasant, cruel and annoying if you apply it to a person. So when you combine it both together, it's something that is nasty. She is actually comparing her child to this horrible thing, and she feels like her son is taking advantage of her. She felt as if she was not appreciated by her own son. Yeah. So instead of feeling like a mom, she feels the total opposite of it. Now we are gonna move on to the third literary device, which is hyperbole. So there are 2 of them in this play, and you can find it in page 22 and also 23. So the first one is when Patty and Anthony were talking about a game. So Patty was basically just asking him whether he went for the game because she was the cheerleader that night, and he said no, he didn't, so he didn't saw the game. And then Patty got kind of like flustered. She starts to elaborate on things without realizing that she's going too fast. So then Anthony cuts her off by saying, Patty, if you keep talking at that pace, you are gonna melt. You'll be Patty melt. So the hyperbole in this line is you're gonna melt. So the word melt here means that she looks, maybe that because she was flustering, right? So she looks embarrassed. So when she talks too fast, it's like she's shrinking into liquid. So because of embarrassment, that's why. And then the next hyperbole is when Brandon came up to Kathy to apologize to her because he bullied her earlier. So he wanted to apologize for his action. So when he was in the middle of that apology, Kathy suddenly cut him off by saying, from you atop the 30,000 foot high mountain that is your ego. So because he didn't know how to apologize, so he's taking his time to apologize to her. So when Kathy got the wrong message, and then she thought that this guy is full of ego, so she went on and say, atop the 30,000 foot high mountain, that is your ego. So that is the hyperbole there. So she is saying that your ego is too high, that you can't even come and apologize to me properly. That is what she meant.
Another literary device that can be seen in this play is allegory. Allegory is portrayed several times in the play. First, when Brandon's mom explained to him how to solve the math problem. She illustrated a situation to help Brandon understand how to solve algebra. Words told Brandon, never estimate the value of anything without taking out the additive, for then you're not judging anything truly. You wouldn't judge a man's typical house condition while he has a guest over. It just ain't right. The part when she said you wouldn't judge a man's typical house condition while he has guests over is the situation she uses to convey her message to Brandon to set the equation equal to 0 as the first step. Another example can be seen on scene 7, during a conversation between Kathy and Jackson. Kathy was bothered by the thought of her not being able to ace her chemistry test tomorrow. Jackson sees what Kathy is lacking. He told her she's missing a thing in her called self-confidence. Kathy was perplexed by Jackson's logic. She does not understand how self-confidence is going to help her ace her test. Therefore, Jackson helped her paint the picture in order to make her understand what he meant. He uses orchestra to visualize Kathy's situation. He told Kathy that a conductor is the most important part of the orchestra, and a conductor takes control of the rest of the orchestra. Kathy is the conductor. She has all the pieces together, the violins, the basses. All she got to do now is face her orchestra and take control with pride. Next is diction. From the play, we notice the presence of colloquialism uttered by a few characters throughout the play. In page 6, when Brandon uses the word punk, "Stay down, punk," when he ran into Kathy and was mad at her for being in his way. Other than that, the word ain't on page 8, just ain't right, and on page 19, ain't worth nothing. Page 15, kinda and gonna. Page 20, comfy, and lastly, page 25, emo and peppy. The usage of colloquialism is frequently used in this play as most words are quite significant to the character's age since most of them are teenagers. The words used such as kinda, gonna, comfy, emo, and peppy shows it all. Other than that, the words used also reflect their life background. For example, Zach's mom said ain't worth nothing. This shows that his mom comes from a lower life background compared to his father, seeing the fact that she's not working and is an alcoholic, and also not to mention the fact that she is also lacking in her role as a mother to Zach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. เพลงผมวิบวิบวิบวิบวิบเพลงผม